I have a bare head I'm going to be assembling today. The first step is you got to install the valve guide collars. They look like this right here. Just make sure you put some oil on before you install them on here. They just slide over. So I'm just going to be doing that for all 16. So I just finished installing all of the valve spring seats. They just slide right on. It's super easy. The next step is to install your valve stem seals. They make special tools for these, but if you find a socket that fits over this outside rim of the seal, you can just hit it on with a dead blow hammer or a mallet, and that works perfectly fine. So I'm going to do that for all 16. So I just finished installing the valve stem seals. I just tapped them on. They all look good. So next step, I'm going to flip the head upside down and put in the valves. Just keep in mind the intake are the larger valves and the exhaust are the smaller valves. So I just installed all of the valves. So the next step is going to be putting on your springs. Make sure when you put them in the engine that the tighter coiled end is towards the head, touching the head. For these specific springs, they're completely symmetrical, so it doesn't matter which way. But you're going to put these on along with the retainers, and I have the keepers in here. So I'm going to go ahead and put all those on. So I just finished putting on all the valve springs with the keepers and the retainers. I put them in there because I'm be using this tool by Lyle. I'm using the small one. You can't buy the small one individually, you have to buy it as a set. So I'm going to try to get a video of me installing these with this tool. See how it goes. So before you start using this tool, it's important that you get a rag and put it under the valve. Make sure it's really tight so the valve doesn't slide down when you're using this tool. There's one. See how easy that was. If you do it right, this tool is very, very easy to use. So I got the I got all the intake side. But I wanted to show you guys when you're using this tool, make sure they're all properly seated. This one right here, you can see, is kind of bumped up. You have to take that out and try again. You don't want to drop a valve when you're doing this job. So just want to let you guys know, make sure it's flat. Okay, so I finished up all the valves. They're all seated in. All the keepers are flat. So we're good. This tool is really amazing. I started at 12:15. It is 12:32, so 17 minutes. I most definitely didn't get them all the first time, and it only took 17 minutes for 16 of them, so that's a pretty good time. The next step is putting in the camshaft. Here's the camshaft. So the cam bolt, the cam gear side will go towards the timing cover side right here, and then this side where the distributor goes on, so that'll go on the other side. So I'm gonna go ahead and put that in there. Before I put it in there though, make sure you lubricate these very well. I have engine assembly lube, but if you don't have this, oil works just as well. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. So the camshaft is just sitting there in the engine. The next step is to put on the rocker arm assembly. This side right here where the distributor is, so it's going to be on this side right here, and then this is where the cam seal sits. So we're gonna go ahead and install it, and you might have to finick with it a little bit because it has these dowels, so you gotta make sure those seat. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. It usually helps to tap with a dead blow hammer to get these in place. Just make sure you don't damage anything. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. So before we install the rocker arm assembly, make sure you put liquid gasket RTV right here and right here. Make sure you don't go overboard so it doesn't get in here and hurt anything, or in these little passages. But yeah, just thin layer, and then we'll go ahead and place the rocker arm assembly on. So I applied a thin layer, very thin, around all 4 of these spots, and now I'm gonna go ahead and put this assembly on. So we just installed the rocker arm assembly. Just make sure when you do this, you kind of inspect it to make sure all of the pieces aren't jammed or anything. I don't know if you can even see this, but just make sure everything's working as it should, everything's moving. And the next step would be tighten the bolts on these 2 and on these 2. Yeah, so go ahead and thread those in. So I just got the lost motion assembly on top of the rocker arm assembly. Just making sure everything is in order, which it is. So before we tighten down these bolts, I'm going to install the new camshaft seal. This is the old one, but yeah, you just lube it up and you just put it right in there. So I just installed the new camshaft seal. I just tapped it in. Not a press at all. It just slides in. So now I'm going to tighten up the lost motion assembly. There's a pattern to it. It starts from the inside and then slowly starts going to the outside. These lost motion assembly bolts are 16 foot-pounds, and these two are 9 foot-pounds. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. So I went ahead and torqued down the last of the bolts. Make sure you do from the middle out. Make sure you do the right torque sequence. These middle ones, like I said, they're 16 and the outer ones are 9. I put this socket on the camshaft to make sure it spun, make sure nothing was seized up, and it was fine. Just make sure that you have something soft under your head so when the valves push down it doesn't bend them. I threw these clamps on here so the Honda bond would seal properly for the timing cover so I wouldn't have any leaks.